everyone? Welcome back to the Command Your Brand Show. I'm your host, Josh Silvestro, brand ambassador of Command Your Brand, where we help CEOs and founders get on top-rated podcasts. Definitely check us out at www.commandyourbrand.com. And if you want to get on podcasts yourself, check us out and definitely check out our courses. So here we go in our episode. I'm love to chat with you guys. I just got back from being married. So in case you guys this is going live, I got married on the 14th of June, 2025. It was an amazing experience, and I definitely will go over that later on. But today I want to interview this interview, which I'm really happy to really talk to this person. And this person, we've kind of know each other, and we've kind of seen around with other friends. And, he's just an all around amazing person. He's just done a lot with his own AI adventures and has done a lot with marketing. And he's just a very expert in those areas, and he's also built, basically 3 companies, and he's rolling a lot of stuff with this. And he's just done so much with AI. And I just want to introduce you guys to Avi Vatsa. So, Avi, thanks for joining the show, man.
Thank you for having me here, Josh.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. And congratulations for getting married.
Thank you. It's definitely an adventure, I would say.
I can imagine.
So I guess what we'll start off here is for people who don't know who you are and kind of want to get to a little bit better about you, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and then also why you started the company that you started. I know you have a couple of them, so you can just say all of them.
Absolutely. So my name's Avi Vatsa, and I'm originally from India. I went to school in Portland, Oregon, and kind of lived all over the world, especially since COVID. Traveled to about 40 countries now. Currently based in Dubai and Florida, back and forth. Lived in South Africa, Australia, Thailand, and America for sure. So so that's about me. I've been an entrepreneur since the time I remember. I was 15 when I started my first business. And it's just, I guess it's that passion or this thing of just doing something and building something, and that kind of carried over. And for the last about 7 years, I've been running a successful digital marketing agency called Growth Driven Digital. And then recently became a co-founder in an AI and blockchain dev agency called Codest. And finally launched my first SaaS product, which is called Dialora.ai, which is a AI voice calling agent. And basically it uses AI and AI voices with LLMs like ChatGPT and Claude to have human-like conversations and book calls, do sales calls, take inbound incoming calls, customer service, surveys and marketing, and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. And so I guess for you, you've obviously built so much success in these ventures that you're kind of going through. Yeah. How did you first discover your passion for AI and business growth? What inspired you to do both?
Absolutely. So I think for AI specifically was more of a strategic move. I mean, I knew AI was coming way before it was going to actually come because it seemed like a logical progression of technology evolving, right? We were hitting this information overload with Google and all these different websites and videos online. And then we needed a smarter computer system to sort of aggregate all that data and have more of a human connection. That was the original vision with computers way back when computers were invented. People have been working on AI since the 50s, so it was going to come earlier, I thought, but it finally did come. So, which was great. And then when I saw with ChatGPT, I knew that this is going to be the new normal, and this is going to take over a lot of the processes that normal businesses use, and not replace people so much, but it will replace some people, but more increase productivity. And I saw it as more of a productivity tool, and that's how I use it to just increase the output. It's just the thing that really excites me about this whole AI thing is until now, computers understood a different language, right? They understood code. You wanted to make a computer do something, you'd have to code it, right? Now we're in that era, and it's going to get more and more where computers are going to be just normal natural language processing, which is large, AI is, that's what we know AI as, but there's so many more AIs. But the biggest AI, ChatGPT, is just a language model, right? And so it understands human language and turns it into code. So computers will be more intuitive, more human, and more people can do things. So it's like having a computer that actually just does, like, it's like a genie in the bottle. So you wish and it makes it come true, right? It's kind of like that. So you just need to now know how to wish correctly, which is like write the prompt correctly, and it's going to get it done, which is awesome. So all your dreams can be made into reality with this new tool. Right?
Amazing. Yeah. That's awesome.
So
And so, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So I saw like the markets shifting in that direction. I saw like marketing, website designing, all the stuff that we do, SEO is probably going to be taken over by AI. And I tried to convince my partners to like move over first and get into like a product. But they were like, no, it's never going to go away. We're always going to have projects. But then they started seeing less and less lead flow, a lot of confusion. People didn't know whether they should use AI or what. There is a confusion in the market, right? Like how to integrate AI into your business. So anyway, then I found a friend who was running a very successful AI dev company, working with really big companies like Hyundai, governments, implementing AI in these companies and making AI products for these companies. So I basically asked him to become a partner. He agreed, and it's about 90 people in the company. And so that's Codest, and Codest builds really awesome software with AI for enterprise and small businesses and startups.
Amazing. And so, obviously with people, there's still people out there, believe it or not, that are still not using AI with whichever business they're doing in. Like, I guess how do you actually build a business with AI? Like, it seems so daunting and like, challenging to figure out how to actually do it. Like, how do you actually do that? Because
Absolutely. And yeah,
I can see you the expert in this one.
That's a very good question, right? And I think there's a lot of hype about AI as well, and a lot of videos just hyping it up. You don't build a business with AI. You build a business, right? You just build a business. You got to solve a problem, right? How are you going to use AI in 2025 is not like, oh, we're going to do something with AI. No, we're going to solve a problem using AI. So the fundamentals of business remain the same, but AI is used to like just increase the efficiency, the output, the work, and get it done faster and faster, right? So you still, if you want to start a business or you already have a business, your business fundamentals don't change. You still need to solve a problem. You still need to understand the people that you're selling to. You still need to understand the niche that you're going to target. But use AI to do all of those things. Do market research. AI can right now go on Reddit. It can go on Quora. It can go on Google. It can go on millions of websites for you. Find out what people have pain points about. You can go and tell the AI to go on any subreddit and go and find out what the problem in that specific market. So let's say we're talking about a flower florist or something, right? And they want to know in New York what people are talking about flowers. So you can actually tell AI to go over all the thousands of messages in Reddit or any website, and it's going to do that for you and summarize all of that to find and define the problem and the pain points. Then you can use that data, and that could take somebody 12 hours, 10 hours, 5 hours to do, and this is going to be done in 2 to 10 minutes, right? So not even 10 minutes, like maximum 5 minutes, right? So the time to do things is decreasing and the output and productivity is going to be increasing, right? So then that's one use case. Market research, same with competitor research, same with, customer research. Like what are people talking about? Let's say you're part of a community on Facebook. You can plug in an AI to your Facebook or to your browser, which is going to go on Facebook and sort of summarize everything in that group, right? And so you get all of that data, and it creates beautiful reports, presentations, charts, visualizations. So it also does that. So you have like, like a data analyst with you all the time. Then you can now use it to code to a certain degree called vibe coding, which is a superpower. And a lot of people are promoting building apps. Now anyone can build an app in like 10 minutes. It's not really true. I mean, it is true to some degree, but yeah, I mean, it's going to get better and better and better, but it works to a certain degree. It's going to wipe out all the lower level coding stuff, but higher level debugging of the code and all of that is still human needs to do it. Plus also the prompts you write, right? So coding, and that in itself is a superpower. We have another product called Assembler, which literally creates amazing, hyper realistic, without hallucination, social media videos and images, because that's been the main problem with AI. It's generative, which means it hallucinates, right? It creates things more than you want it to. So if you put let's say you put a photo of this glass and you want it to change its background, it might change the glass itself and the background, right? Right now it does that, and it's getting better and better. It used to be crazier, but now it's getting better. But we came out with a product where the glass and the product remains the same. The lighting gets changed. The background gets changed. The image becomes a video, and so you can create unlimited social media content on Assembler, and it's way cheaper and faster. Like it would take for that level of content, a graphic designer or a video editor about a week or 10 days, maybe 2 weeks to build one of those. But you get like 10 videos in about 1 hour in with the AI, and they're really, really good, right?
Yeah.
So there's like across every business scenario, even podcasting, like we could literally be having this podcast where it's an AI version of you and an AI version of me, and it could be given the script and it would be talking, and it would look pretty real. People are actually doing it. You see a lot of YouTubers, like really big ones, they're using AI avatars of themselves and their voices, using HeyGen and 11 Labs, which are two of the big companies in this space, to just create video content on auto mode, and everyone thinks it's them, but it's not them, and they're still getting millions of views. So every single use case is getting, especially in the digital world, right? It's getting more and more automated and highly more volume, high production, high volume with AI, right?
Right. That's amazing. Also, you're gonna find this funny, but I was curious what you thought. There's so many different like options in terms of AI and like what you should do. Like there's Gemini, there's Apple Siri, there's just a lot of different other ones. What do you think is the worst one?
The worst one? It depends on what use case, right? But I think overall worst is probably Gemini.
Really?
Overall, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, and it's kind of ironic because Google wrote the paper or the research that made AI as what AI is, right? So Google invented it technically, the people who worked at Google, and then they kind of tried to suppress that knowledge so that they could still have the monopoly on search engines. And then it didn't work out for them, and now they're actually kind of behind. But with Google VO3, they're probably going to come back up. So it's like a tight race right now,
Yeah. That's interesting. And so I guess for you, because you obviously dealt with a lot of AI, blockchain, and just other stuff like that, like, as we kind of see it, like things are kind of transforming, evolving, like as we go by year, we're like, wow, everything's getting faster, better, like just some of the videos I'm watching, it's like, you can't even tell if it's real or not anymore because it's like really almost too wild to me how it is. Where do you see and how do you see technology evolving even further? Like, what advice would you give to newer entrepreneurs or even just the entrepreneurs we have today, like what they should look to leverage these in terms of business growth?
Absolutely. I think Mark Cuban just did an interview. You know Mark Cuban, like the Shark Tank guy, right? Yeah. He said like there's businesses with that AI and then there's no business, so it's kind of like that now in 2025 and beyond, where it's more than a strategic advantage. Like you couldn't possibly survive when you look at the costs and all the different factors without using AI when everybody else is using AI, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, business still is the same. Like business is business, right? There's obviously going to be some markets and some businesses which are going to take a bigger hit, like let's say lower level bookkeeping or lower level marketing jobs, right? But what I'm seeing a shift on Fiverr and Upwork as well is most of these marketing agencies, including us, we've become like more expert at AI. So people come to us to help install the AI marketing system. They still need help with the marketing strategy, the marketing brains, the marketing, the campaigns, but you still need a human being or a team to run the AI, right? The AI is not going to keep running the AI. It might, but not right now, right? They're trying, but it's not really, and I don't think it ever will. Like it, humans will do it, and obviously there's ethical and moral, uh, ramifications or threats, uh, connected with AI or what they call AGI, right? Artificial General Intelligence, which is like the super brain that controls all computers and can think and do anything, right? And the ChatGPT, Sam Altman, even Elon, they keep saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It could come next year, but I don't think it's going to be next year, but it could be in 2030. And,
Yeah.
but I'd still think fundamentally people will do more things because there's going to be more creative things to do, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you got to use AI. Like you got to use AI to increase efficiency, automate business processes so that you can create more, you can do more, you can come up with wilder, crazier ideas, test them faster. You don't need to spend 50 grand or 100 grand to build a software or an app right now, that like you used to, because you could go build a MVP or like a prototype in about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 2-3 hours on one of these AI coding apps like Lovable, Bolt, and there's more coming on every day. Claude, you could use Cursor. There's so many, right? Lovable is probably the easiest, and Bolt is probably the second best. Where you don't even have to look at any code. You can just type in and it creates everything for you. And it's at least your mock-up in your head can be mocked up by the AI immediately, right? So then you can test that. You can have like a test with an audience, like will they buy it, will they won't buy it, and then based on that, then you can build the real version of it, right? So technology is never going to be a barrier for businesses, small businesses anymore. Like it was always a barrier, but it's not going to be a barrier. You probably need one chief AI officer in every company that would know and keep a track of all these cool tools and know how to use them. And he would do a lot of the stuff that maybe 10, 20 people would be doing, right? So that's, I think, where it's going at for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for you, obviously I call you the lead AI guy that just kind of goes off and just kind of like really knows the game of how to play with AI and create it and just make it your own. How do you see where do you see this thing going in terms of my question is, how do you manage to stay ahead of the curve? Like where when it kind of comes about and it emerges and new technologies come out, like how do you stay with the trends and like what are you most excited about in terms of all this? Because like I know for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's kind of like a little tough to manage and figure out like what the new thing is. But like you obviously are expert in that area, so like how do you stay ahead of the game of that?
Well, yeah. I mean, personally, like, so Google Alerts. So I put Google
Yeah.
Alerts and I have like a whole automation that aggregates all the news about AI from many different sources. And it's an AI that finds all the news about AI and then puts together a newsletter for me. So I use that personally. And I can set that up. It takes like 10 minutes for anybody. You can do it on make.com or N8N. But that's how I do it. So it pulls from X, it pulls from YouTube, it pulls from various news channels, and then it like aggregates it, right? Plus, I also have a whole research and development department in Codest that does AI research, that does a lot of, so there's a lot of people in there. So we keep abreast of all the technical stuff. So what I'm really excited about right now, I mean, if you look at the what's happening, all these different tools, they're like, most of them are called wrappers. They're wrappers as in they're just uh a wrapper is basically a wrapper on top of ChatGPT or one of the big LLMs, right? LLM is a large language model for those who still who don't know about it. It's basically ChatGPT. It's an LLM, right? So most of these tools that you see on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, oh, this tool will do that for you, that tool will do that for you, mostly are wrappers running like in the hood. It's ChatGPT and it's like fine-tuned for a specific purpose. So I would stick as a stable datum, as like a stability thing, because it can get overwhelming. Like all these tools, every day people are making so much content about these tools, right? I would stick with the big companies like ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, all right? And Claude is really, really good for coding stuff, building stuff, right? ChatGPT is really good for research and like finding things. It can now actually send reminders and do tasks and stuff like that. Grok is also very, very good for that. So all of them are good. You can do a lot of things just with that. And, but what I'm really excited about is this thing called the MCP, which is, it's like a new thing that Anthropic, do you know Anthropic?
No.
It's the company that built Claude. It's basically it might change the internet. So right now, so MCP means Model Context Protocol, and it's basically a technical thing which is going to replace how websites and the internet works potentially. And it's
Wow.
basically right now, if you need to send some data or some information, you use something called an API, which is like a connector between one website or one program and another program, right? But this MCP thing is an AI agent connector. So it's connecting millions of AI agents to do work together. And
Yeah.
it's going to be on every person's websites on the back end. And it will change the banking industry because it takes like the way the data is communicated and sent in this process of like, let's say getting a loan approved and all. The reason it takes so much time or like 3, 4, 5 days is because there's different processes and there's like like different steps in a process, and it kind of like gets stuck between the approval times of these processes. Let's say you submit a loan application, then someone has to review it, someone has to check all the stuff that you put, right? But the AI will be able to do it. The AI will do all of those steps, and then a human can review everything. So it'll be way faster, right? So that is a genuinely real invention that is very exciting.
That's amazing. I'm really excited. It sounds like a really exciting stuff. So I guess what we'll do, because I do also want to talk about your other businesses too, because I know you have you have 2 other ones. But I guess like the one, because you're also the CEO and founder of Growth Driven Digital, right? You specialize in helping business scale, which I think some people have a little hard time with and kind of figure out how to scale it, what to do, what not to do. What are some of the biggest challenges as an entrepreneur you face when trying to automate those processes?
Yeah, I think like yesterday I was talking to one of my clients, and she's like a yoga teacher. She learned the yoga studio in Florida. And so we were just reviewing her ads and everything. And she's very small, right? She's just starting and she's having a tough time, Sometimes when you start, it's a tough time. So we were looking at why it's not working for her. Like she's getting like 20, 30 leads a week at like a $300 ad spend. But why isn't she still making money? And so then what we actually looked at was, it was not a marketing problem. It was actually a business model problem. So her offer was $49 and a 70 one time to come in for the class, like the introductory offer of like this pass that she was selling through ads was $49, and then $79 a month membership, right? And if you do the numbers, the cost to acquire the customer, the lifetime value of the customer, and then you like look at all your costs, the rent and all of that stuff, it was never going to be profitable in the first place. So she didn't actually do the numbers, and she didn't create the right offers. So no matter how much marketing she would do, she would always lose money. And she was relying on this assumption that if I can get somebody in the door, 100% they're going to pay for like the yearly plan. But statistically, when we were going over what she's doing currently, how many people have paid for the annual plan, there was nobody except 2 people, right? So it was an assumption, which was an incorrect assumption. So sometimes a lot of business owners have a business model problem. And what that means is like, they haven't done the math, right? So they haven't seen what's the cost to acquire a customer, what's the lifetime value of a customer. These are very basic, important metrics. What's the gross profit? What's the gross margin? Like, what does that even mean? So, all of these things are like basic, and sometimes we as entrepreneurs, I've done this a lot of times. I've made this mistake. I don't care, right? So I'm just going to go and do the business, get some sales and get stuff going. And we want to get stuff going and make some money, right? But then when we try to scale, it starts breaking because our foundations weren't correct. Once we start spending a lot of money to get a lot of customers, we're like, shit, it's not working out, right? Because we didn't plan accordingly. So I think it's very important to build the foundations first. And I think Alex Hormozy is one of the best influencers who gives like true knowledge, applicable knowledge to build those foundations, right? Because you can run as many ads and do as much marketing as you want, but if your offer sucks, it's not going to work, right? If you're targeting the wrong person, it's never going to work. If you're trying to sell Barbies to boys, okay, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that was a bad example, but I don't know why it came to my mind.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to sell something that, or whatever, like it's just, that's the 3 mistakes people make. They either don't have a right offer and a right message that resonates with the people that they're talking to, or they're just talking to the wrong person, or they're like advertising on Facebook when their audience is on actually Instagram. Like the Gen Z doesn't hang out on Facebook. So if they're trying to sell to Gen Z, they ain't gonna work Facebook. Like it's not gonna work, Right. So yeah. So I think the numbers and then the marketing, I think that's very, very important. Yeah.
Cool. And so I guess for you, you've obviously helped with, with over $30 million of generating for clients. You've helped a lot of people like just make a lot of money in terms of scaling and, being successful in that age. Like how do you think what is the key to scaling it? I think you kind of mentioned a little bit before, but what do you think is the key to being successful in scaling a business in today's digital landscape?
Scaling is a whole different like thing, right? So scaling in different industries is different. But I guess the fundamentals are the fundamentals, and the basic rule of scaling is the business that can spend the most money wins. That's really it. And if you look at all these VC-backed companies, they burn money to scale super fast because they have to spend a ton of money to buy their customers. You have to buy, to acquire their customers. They're essentially paying money in the beginning to buy customers so that they can make money later on from them, right? But I don't know how familiar you are or like the audience is, but like then Russell Brunson, who's like the founder of ClickFunnels, during COVID or a bit before, like 2017, he's like, to hell with VCs, we're going to create this funnel model. And he didn't create it, he popularized it. This has been the model since the 1940s or earlier, which is the direct mail model, where you create this funnel, like this system where the cost to acquire a customer is made back by a structured series of upsells and like series of offers, right? So you might be getting, like, let's say you're paying $20 to get a customer to buy a course on podcasting, right? And that's what you're paying Facebook to get this customer to sign up for it. Maybe you give away the course for free so that a lot of people buy it, or maybe for $10, right? But then you have this structured system that sells them the $2,000-3,000 a month package to do their PR, to brand them, to grow their online presence and become an authority, get on really good podcasts. So you spend $20 for a free thing, but then you made $2,000 to $3,000 a month, which could be $25 to $36 a year, depending on the lifetime value of your customer, right? So you got to do those kind of numbers, and those numbers must be really, really dialed in. Then you can like put 100K on ad spend and scale and scale and scale if the numbers and the back end works. But the rule doesn't change. Like there is no other way to scale by spending money to acquire customers. No matter you do a partnership, you do affiliates, you do referrals, there is a cost to acquire a customer. And the company that can spend the most money to acquire a customer will get the most customers. And the company that has enough cash flow will always stay in business, because that's why people go out of business, because they don't have enough cash flow, right? So if you want to stay in business forever, just have enough cash flow. What does cash flow mean? Like money coming in, more money than expenses, right? And if you have both of those numbers sorted out, you can scale forevermore. Right.
That's so true. I could definitely see how that would be, the cash flow has to be there, but that would make a lot of sense why you need those things in order to scale or to make it better. So that would make a lot of sense.
Right. And that's the business model, which is the numbers of the customer side and the expense side and the marketing side. And if all those numbers work and fine tune them, you can keep scaling. Right. And then obviously the best tool to scale anything is leverage. Right. And that kind of segues into the newest product or venture that I'm doing, which is the AI agent app, the software, because for 10 years, I've been like grinding and grinding and grinding. And, I've listened to Uncle G and I've become motivated, and I keep grinding and grinding and doing 18 hours and 16 hours. And I'm going and making money, but it's a lot of work. Right. And then I'm like, I wear like 300 hats, and, I've sacrificed so many different things, and it's good where I'm at, but it can't continue like this. Otherwise, what's the purpose of this? Right. And that's what every entrepreneur kind of goes through. And the only way you can come out of that and scale is through leverage. And there's only 4 kinds of leverage. There's the capital leverage, which is money working for you. You know what? Like, for anybody who doesn't know what leverage means, leverage is basically a lever. So like, it comes from the physics thing where you use this pulley system to lift like a big load of stuff, right? So like the idea is that you can do 10x more or 1,000x more than you could do by yourself, right? So tools. So basically, if you look at life, there's only 4 kinds of leverage. There's capital leverage. So you have VC funding or enough money to just get money to do the work for you. So you buy success through money, right? Or you could have code leverage. You spend 100 hours making one software once, and then this software keeps selling, and then you keep making money passively, right? So the code keeps doing the work for you, right? The code, like if you're in a service, like with AI, I have automated my marketing agency, so it does the SEO, it does the ads, it does the creatives to a large degree, so I can get more and more clients, and I have leverage. I can do more with the same amount of effort, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have content leverage, and I think this is the big one that I didn't understand before, and this is what's making billionaires right now, which is attention leverage, content leverage. So if you have a personal brand, like if you look at The Rock, if you look at Ryan Reynolds, if you look at what's her name, the Kardashian, is it Kim, the youngest one who became a billionaire at like 21 or something?
I don't know.
It's one of the Kardashians. Anyway, there's a lot of people, like all these influencers that we hear about. So they made videos or content once, and it keeps paying them returns over a period of time, right? So it was a leverage. They had to do it once, and it kept making them money, or it kept opening doors and giving a return on investment over a large, long period of time, right? Uh, so it's the idea is like you do something once and it keeps giving you. So I call it a money tree. You got to have your money trees. You got to plant money trees. And that people call leverage in the business world. And the fourth thing is people leverage, which is like you really build a strong team of A players, or like you take players and really like coach them and become really, really good. And you do that once, maybe it takes you a year or 2 years to do it, or faster. But once they're fully stable, you can like exit the business, right? You can keep scaling it because they will do the work for you, right? And that's been the hardest thing for me, like to, really give up that control and trust another human being to do the work for me. And once I crack that, it really grows because, a company with 100 people or 10 people and the right tools and code and stuff will always, always crush a one-man show who's trying to do everything.
Right.
So,
yeah. That's amazing. And so I guess for you, because I want to go to this other side, which I would love to talk to you about, is, you've been featured on Forbes and you spoke at, a TED Talk, and those are significant achievements that you did, right? So I want kind of curious from your point of view, what were some of the key points that shaped your career, and how did those things influence your path as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. So for me, entrepreneurship has for a really, really long time, and even now, it's been a means to an end and not an end in itself. So the means has always been, you know, doing good in the world and trying to make a better society, helping people by giving them the education and the tools to do better and live a better life. And since a very young age, I became a certified mental health counselor, life coach, when I was like 16. And I got into human rights and environmental nonprofits since I was like 12. And I don't know, I was just inclined. I guess, I just looked around and I thought like things are not okay and it's not how it should be. And why? I had a lot of questions like, why do people suffer, and why are people poor, and like, why is this person like in America like spending so much money while like there's all these people over there that have like no money enough to starve. So it's like, a lot of things didn't make sense to me as a kid. And so I sort of got into the right places at the right time. And whenever I was called to help for any cause, I was always there. And so I did a lot of work in human rights in India. I also sponsored a school with 5,000 kids, very poor slum kids, to give them free education. I personally volunteered tens of thousands of hours over the years for causes like that, going for like rescuing people out of earthquake disasters, and building schools in like earthquake affected areas, um, doing cool things also like helping the army. I shouldn't talk about that. Anyway,
That's
but
fine.
yeah. But basically, like helping like the army with terrorist affected areas, or areas where there was war and terrorism, and like helping rebuild that community. And not just through donations. Yeah, now it's been a lot of donations. I've consistently over the last 5 years donated at least 50% of my income, if not more. But it's also been the time and effort. And that's the main thing people ask me, like, how do you find time to do all the things that you do? Like, I'm about to release my song that I recorded. I'm also a DJ. I do a lot of things, right? I'm just like, always active. I guess you just find the time when something's important to you, and you don't find the time when it's not as important to you, right? So that's really how it works for me, at least. So and that resulted in the TED Talk. The TED Talk was about finding your purpose in life. I'm a very big believer of like finding your purpose in life. If you don't know that, you can't really align everything else, right? That was a TED Talk. Forbes was about AI. Got this award for making change, a measurable change. It's called the Changemaker Awards. So it was more on the nonprofit side, but all of that was funded by the business side, and the leverage gave the time to actually do the stuff, and that's how it went.
Awesome, man. And
Yeah.
so I guess for lastly, because I know we've kind of talked for a little while, I'd love to hear some successes from you that you've had with people that you've been around, like you've helped, or you've, any successes from either, as you've helped with human rights or even in your business. Like I'd love to hear some stories from you about that, or a story.
Yeah, absolutely. So with growth driven, so we basically helped a company. I wouldn't name the company, but it's a company based out of New York. They do skincare, and they have a salon, and we basically scaled their company from we over 2 years we made $9 million for them through Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO. We beat Sephora and Estee Lauder, like these really big giants in that skincare space, and ranked our client on number one on that specific keyword. That Sephora and Estee Lauder was spending like shit ton of money to get on number one, and that resulted in literally overnight selling out of all their products. So that was very interesting. Then yeah, just even for myself, right? Dialora, we launched a month ago, and because I know how to do this, we were able to get 362 users on the platform within a month, which is kind of crazy for me. I didn't expect it to go so well with like a $1,600 ad spend, and that 360 users, and it became profitable in the first month. If you calculate how much that is, it's a lot of money. 360 users. Yeah, it's knowing, learning, spending time studying and applying and learning the skills, and then finally, once you become a master in those skills, then you can really scale. That day comes when you can really scale the business and fast, right? So Dialora was a good one, recent one. Um, there was this other company that we worked with. They came to us 2 years ago. They were making $2,000 in annual revenue. It's like a smart faucet company that has like filters and hot and cold water and like a touch of a button, and $2,000 in sales a month. Now they're at $60,000 a month. With like a very limited ad spend. But it was like a lot of things: SEO, ads, social media, influencers, emails, so the whole funnel strategy, right? One of the coolest things, so that's on the marketing side. On the AI side, we've been working with this company. I think this is really cool, which is going to transform education. So it completely automates the creation and the grading of examinations and assignments in all schools and colleges and universities. So it becomes more practical based assignments, and the teacher has more time because the AI helps the teacher grade the assignments, make the assignments, and the assignments are tailored to every student based on the data of the student, not like generic examinations, which is really cool. All the assembler, the social media company, that's also really cool. Lots of stories, man. Lots of stories, lots of things to do. But yeah, there's a lot going on. So
That's great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Avi, I really appreciate the time. I know we kind of went a little bit over, but I really appreciate the time you've given us and ask a lot of questions about AI and, how to scale your business and like all these really tips of that, how you were very successful in it. So before we end off, I would love for people to kind of get to know you and a little bit to know like who you are. Like, is there a place people can reach out to you or your company or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's avivatsa.com. It's VATSA, not VASTA. So it's Avi, AVI, VATSA.com. You can check out what I'm doing, my podcast, my content, connect with me through there on socials. And if you want to email me from there. I'm always going to respond. I respond to all my emails and DMs. So Avi Vatsa, and I actually have a free gift for all the users watching this show. So you can get a whole AI system and automation that you can use as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, to
Wow.
help you create your marketing strategy, to do market research, competitor research, sales scripts, all of that. And it's go to www.freeaigift.com. That's freeaigift.com.
Amazing. That's awesome. Well, Avi, I really appreciate the time you've given us to ask a lot of questions. And I thank everyone for listening to our episode here. If you guys like this stuff, please like and subscribe, and definitely check out our channel. And also check out Avi too. I think you'll really like Avi. And Avi,
Thanks, Josh.
It was an honor.
It was an honor and pleasure. Thank you so much. And again, a very happily married life to you. Enjoy your honeymoon.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Have a good one.